So duplication models, as we know, can be so complex in the sense there's so many different variables, so many different factors for creating a duplication model, as everyone's different. Some companies are product oriented, some are service oriented, different types of compensation plans. Some have more of the money on the front end, some more in the middle, some towards the back end. Some are more customer driven, some are more opportunity driven, and then they want to get customer secondary. There's no right or wrong. I'm not going to go into that. I can't be the judge on that, as each company has their own strategy and philosophy, and I've seen so many different ways work. But there are certain concepts and principles that I want to challenge you on for creating a better duplication model. When I say challenge you, I can't give you a set cookie cutter duplication model. There's no such thing. Everybody is a little bit different, but I can teach you principles that can get your mind working and going. I can help you to better understand of what's important and why it's important to help you to go to the next level. So as we go through this, the first thing that we got to get out of the way is, if your team has a working duplication model, stick with it. Earn your first million, or at least 6 figures, the way that your mentor did. Why? Because it's always better to have the third best system. If you think, let's say you think it's just the third best system, you could create a better one that everybody's doing. There's natural synergy. There's naturally more leverage as more people are doing it. So it's not all on you and reinventing the wheel. So just understand that. I want to get that out of the way. As you are, many of you already have your own teams. Many of you that are tuning in are 6- and 7-figure earners that have huge teams, and others are growing their team and maybe only have a couple people on your team right now. But this is still important to understand, because you want to become the leader of leaders. With that said, I hope this never gets old, because you hear me say this all the time, but I think it's that important. That's why I say it all the time. The 2 questions everyone asks themselves when making a decision is, number 1, can I do it? Can I do what you're doing? Number 2 is it worth it? We're always answering those questions. So just keep that in mind. That's a challenge for you as you're creating a duplication model. The newest person is always going to ask, can I do it? And is it worth it? Can I do it? That's part of the duplication model. Can they do it? The next part is always understanding the difference between principles and technique. So don't confuse the two. You may hear different things that I say that I did or that I learned, but understand the principle. So for example, my mentor, incredible mentor, he was very, very loud. He was very strong in the sense, I mean, so strong that he would say to someone, hey, look, I'm all in on network marketing. You're either in or you out. Give me your credit card info now, or you're out and you're going to miss out. I couldn't say that. That wasn't my style. That wasn't my personality. But I could learn and extract the principle of what he was teaching. He was teaching the world loves boldness. So find that bold version of you. So don't ever confuse that in any training that I do of, well, Rob said this specifically and this and this. Understand what's the principle behind what he's teaching. That'll help you to have that deeper meaning. The best systems are simple. The best systems should be tested against the following. Can the newest person that maybe we love to death, maybe it's that family member, that friend that you just love hanging out with, but their skill set is on a scale 1 to 10, your perception of their skill set in network marketing is a 1, 2, or 3. It's well below average. Could they do it? Is your system good enough that they can do it? Can the newest person launch without any real in-depth training? Now, what do I mean by that? Because too many times we give them the plan for the plan of the plan, and by the time they go through all these awesome trainings, these 4 hours of trainings, they've taken no action, and by that time, fear usually sets in and they do absolutely nothing. So it's got to be simple enough. The companies I've seen that have gone viral, almost every single one, there are a couple exceptions, have made the system simple enough that the newest person can do it. They look at it and say, okay, I could do that. That makes sense. Sometimes the supposed best systems are actually bad. Why? Because they're so good that they're so complicated that the newest person or the people that start just feel like, wow, that's impressive. I'll sign up. So you get recruits, but you don't get duplication because they feel like it's all relying on you because I can't learn all of this information. It's too much information. The best duplication models are always simple. So as I said, I'm going to give you stories of things that I learned. Some of these things weren't even told to me. I just learned by watching. So as I watched, remember when I started in the network marketing industry over a decade ago, my mentor, who at that time had made over $20 million, and this is what he said to me. He said, there's only 3 things you ever have to do. I said, okay, so I'm ready, and I'm going to take notes, and these things are just going to be so crazy in depth, and they're going to be so profound, which they were, but I didn't feel like they were at the time. And he said, number 1, the only person you're ever going to have to recruit is yourself. And I'm thinking, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. How am I supposed to build a huge team if all I do is recruit myself? I'm going to have to recruit more people. And he said, yeah, but if you recruit yourself, everything else will fall into place. If you've truly recruited yourself, you're going to reach out to new people. If you've truly recruited yourself, you're going to follow up. If you've truly recruited yourself, you're going to do whatever it takes. The only person you're ever going to have to recruit is recruit yourself. That makes sense. So he said, you got to recruit yourself. That's the most important. He said, number 2, then after that, you got to go find a friend. You got to go find that battle buddy, that person you can have the highs and lows with, that person you can have the accountability with. Some people find that person right away. I did. I got lucky. Other people, they're looking for that person a year later. It takes time. Each person's different. And he said, number 3 is have fun. Having fun is making money. Having fun is helping other people make money because that money can create time freedom for you, which gives you the time to be able to chase your dreams and your passion. So he kept it really simple. But then later, what he did is he created this training called Route 66. And it had 6 steps, and then it had 6 sub-steps. So it had 12 steps, and it was so difficult that I swear half the time in the middle of the training, he forgot. So he said, hey, Rob, what's this next step? And he acted like he was just testing me, but I swear he forgot because there were so many steps. And I didn't remember the 12 steps. I had to write them down on my phone. So I always had my phone because I was really nervous he was going to call me. So right when he called me, I'd just say, oh, yeah, it's this and this. I didn't know. Nobody knew. It was too complicated. So his system that went from so simple, it became so good, it was bad. It didn't work. Now, I believe, this is just my theory, that many top leaders, they start out simple, but then they overcomplicate their system. Sometimes they just do it because of their lack of knowledge. So they don't understand or they forget the relevance of simplicity. As Leonardo da Vinci says, simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. Sometimes I think it's their insecurity of, oh, well, I'm perceived as a big leader now. I got to create this really big, complicated system and show all my knowledge. Other times it's their lack of experience or just their understanding. Another strong leader is an example as I go through all these different stories and examples. And the great part is for me now that I'm generic and I don't build any company, I get to work with so many different companies that are successful. I get to see all these systems of what works and what doesn't work. So this other strong leader, he had this system called the 3 threes. And it was 3 new contacts every day, 3 third-party validations every day, and 3 presentations a day. And he said if you did that, you would reach the highest level in the company within a year. And if you wanted to go slower, you could go a little bit slower and just do 1, 1, 1. If you want to go faster, you could do 5, 5, 5. But it was so simple. It's just 3, 3, 3. People just check it off. They'd get it done. They'd make it happen. And that was his idea and philosophy. This leader helped 12 individuals reach the top level of his company. Top level on average was making $500,000 a year. And he helped them 12 people reach it within 1 year. Imagine the amount of volume and revenue that was going through this guy's organization. Later, he added 6 pages of steps. When I say 6 pages, it wasn't bullet points. It was crazy, the detail and in depth. And his business got its butt kicked the next several years. Overcomplicated. Another story, a legendary leader. I just picture this guy's face. He had success in this industry, but he kept it very simple. For big leaders and even for new distributors, his system was this: show the plan 15 times per month. And he would recognize that. He recognized it. He just felt like that's important. That's all we need to do. He makes a huge deal about it, and his teams always grew every single year. He's been in the industry now for over 20 years, every single year. his business grew. Kept it really simple. Have a simple system, or you don't have a system at all. You have just the idea of a system. Are you leading with, and again, this is me just challenge you when I ask questions. Are you leading with the product, or are you leading with the business? Neither one's right or wrong, but you need to cater to the system to what the masses can do. For example, if I'm leading with the product, because I feel like that's what they can do in my company, and that's a focus, great, do that for the 90%ers. And then if you want to create something else that's for the business builders, well, that's not the strategy for the masses. That's when you find the people that want to go really fast, and you can call it your little secret sauce, ninja strategy, whatever. And you can take those people and you go sprint with the people, sprint with those people, sprint with the sprinters, walk with the walkers, jog with the joggers, rest with the resters. Match their energy and effort. Every system, another challenge, needs some sort of additional validation zoom. Okay, additional validation. When I say additional validation, sorry, I didn't say a Zoom. It's an additional validation, whether that's a Zoom or a three-way Facebook Messenger chat or a three-way call or a home meeting or some sort of video, but it's just something, an additional exposure to the business is part of it, right? Because if it's all on the person that's making the invite, either people are going to say that person's too good, I could never do what they're doing, they're the crazy awesome extrovert and they're so great at sales, or they're looking at you and saying, shh, I never want to follow that person, they're not good enough. So either they're too good or not good enough, and that's why third-party validation is always important. So they just have another style, another person. Make that a part of your system. What is the system? Does everyone know it? Is it simple? So if you called right now 5 new people on your team that have been in the business for a week, and you said, hey, what's the system? Try it. Could they tell you? Because if not, you don't really have a system. It's got to be so clear. They know exactly what the system is. They know exactly what to do. And it is so simple that they can do it. They can get into action, and that it can duplicate. So I give you that challenge. Go ask people on your team that specific question. How do you teach it? Because you could have the greatest system in the world, but if nobody knows it, it doesn't really matter. How do you teach it? Have you created a simple video? Maybe it's part of your pin post in your Facebook group, and people join the group. And in the group, you have step 1, and then it's a 2-minute video you created. And step 2, it's a 2-minute, or maybe it's just a document that says do this and this. And then after that, it says don't move on to step 3 until you've completed step 1 and step 2. And then step 3 is a 4-minute video, right? That you go through it. You've got to make sure that you have this structure, and anytime someone brand new starts, they are tagged right on that specific post as you go through. So again, some of these things are, you're like, yeah, I've got them. Another time, some of you are like, yeah, I got them, it could be better. And some of you are like, yes, we're doing so well. We have all of this. Always focus on the newest person. I think that's the most important part of a system for duplication. Getting them launched is the most important part. Why? Because if they don't do anything at all the first 48 hours, they're very unlikely to do anything ever. If they don't do anything the first week, you know, if they're starting this as a business, of course, if they're a customer, it's different because they haven't started yet as a business. So they could be a customer for 5 months, then they start as a business builder. But once they start this as a business, they don't do anything the first week. They're never going to do anything at all. Again, I'm generalizing. Of course, there's the rare exceptions. Of course. So part of my thinking always is when I create a system is, how do I get the newest person into action right away, reaching out to new people right that second? We'll talk about this in a second. How do I get the newest person to get their money back? Because now they feel like they're not a failure. And how do I get them to make $400 a month? These are the things that are always going through my mind when I consult for companies or help coach teams. So think about those things, because if someone makes over $400 a month, there's 95+% retention. So rather than focusing on how to make $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month, all you do is focus on $400 a month. You recognize it like crazy. And if someone wants to make 10 grand a month, help more people make $400 a month. Break it down and make it simple for everyone. You are what you recognize. So you can say, yeah, it's so important for people to make money in our company, or it's so important for people to make their first $400. Really? Show me, prove it to me. How well are you recognizing? How often are you recognizing? How do you recognize? think of all the creative ways that you could do better as far as recognition goes. Because you want to have that specific strategy and specific plan. Because if it's important and relevant to you, you will recognize it like crazy. Facebook groups. All of you have some sort of Facebook group. So I'm going to give you ideas on this. Your Facebook group should be a huge, huge part of your system. And there's different kinds of Facebook groups, right? So again, I'm going to give you ideas as far as Facebook groups. There's customer Facebook groups. Hopefully your team has one. Why? Because it's a great place to add people that are looking at this business and even are looking at the products or services for your business. And it's a great place for them to get consistent testimonials and content, right, that they can see. So it's additional validations. Then also think even once they join, now it's a great retention, because even though they're ordering your products every single month, now it's great because they're being dripped on every single month on the power of the products and new testimonials, which will increase retention. That's huge. Recruiting's big. Retention is right up there with it. Without recruiting, there is no retention, but a lot of us become good at recruiting. Oh, if I only had retention. So customer groups are a big deal. VIP groups. I've seen this more prevalent in female dominant companies. So here's an example. Again, no one has to do any of this. These are ideas. You have to figure out what works with you, your team, your company. Where are you at? Maybe it's later. You can't do everything all at once. So VIP groups would be where, let's say I sign up the newest person, her name is Sally, and I have Sally go create her own Facebook group. I have Sally go invite 25 of her friends to this Facebook group. It's an example. It could be 15, 30, whatever you want. And then she messages her friends, hey, I just invited you to this Facebook group that I'm starting. So excited, just started this new venture. I'm going to be doing a Facebook Live on Tuesday at 6 p.m. I'd love for you to support me. I'm super nervous for doing a Facebook Live on it, for sharing, everything I'm excited about. Please, something like, hey, please, if you could join me, that would be great on the live. I'll send a reminder right before. Is that okay? So, I'm just giving random ideas. I'm rambling right now, okay? And then they go do it, but now they have their own little private Facebook group for really launching as they go, and they're creating that, right, that more personal feel with their customers. So that's something that I've seen a lot of the female, and it doesn't have to be a female dominant company at all. I'm just giving you what I've seen and what I've seen work. And think of 3 particular companies that are doing this, that are doing it very well, that I work with and get to help coach and learn from. Initial distributor group. Now, some people just only have one distributor group. That's okay. You can have that. Again, I'm giving ideas. I'm challenging you. Initial distributor group. So they have people join. So you have your customer group. Now you have your distributor group. Everyone joins that. And then as soon as they hit that first rank, which is usually not, you don't have to do a ton to reach it, then they have a first rank group. Number 1, it makes it so the initial distributor group, they're not overwhelmed. Number 2, it makes it where they know they have to do more, right, to go achieve. It gives something to shoot for to achieve the first rank group. And also, they're different audiences. So again, it's just an idea that I've seen work as well. You don't have to do it. Some of you, oh, that's overkill. It's too much work. Some of you have huge teams. Oh, that would be incredible. To each their own. My challenge is how do you launch the newest person? How do you launch the newest person? You've got to dial this in. What do you specifically do to launch the newest person? How do you recognize your teams? And I want you to get on with your other top team members and say, I want us to go to the next level. Recognition is free. Men die for it. Women cry for it. It's one of the favorite parts about network marketing is the culture that's created. In a large part, it's through the recognition to make people feel valued and important. So I would get on with your top leaders and just say, hey, we got to do better at recognition. So what are all the creative ways that you all think that we can do better at recognizing? What type of accountability do you have for your teams? It's been said that you have 95% plus greater success if you have a specific accountability appointment. That was a recent study. I just read this last week. So what accountability do you have? How do you create accountability where people don't feel guilty or negative, like, oh no, I feel like this is now a job? How do you do that? Some of the things I do when I do accountability of, hey, look, My goal is not to make you feel guilty. I just want to help you to achieve your goals, whatever your goals are. I'd love it if you report your accountability, and we're going to do it whether you do it every day or every week, but if not, that's okay. You can go at your own pace. So it's effective communication, but we also do know the value of accountability. How to use your Facebook groups to keep everyone plugged in and help them so that they're motivated and they see themselves for the best version of themselves, but also so they aren't overwhelmed. So these are all things you can ask yourself and challenge yourself. And maybe you have a leader that you feel like you're not the leader. So you just bring this up. Maybe this leader can, hopefully maybe they get to the point where they're in TDON Nation already. They can watch this training and say, hey, here's some great ideas for to help us go to the next level. So again, I get it. I understand every single company's at a different place. Every team's at a different place with products and comp plan and all different momentum, all different things. But I know this training can help you and your teams out tremendously. So figure out what's that one thing you're going to take that will help you and your teams to go to the next level.